this is very worrisome. They have a very particular agenda. So what is going on anyway with this SPP? And one way to look at how fast the integration for trade is taking place is to look at well, this is an overall view of some of the things that are accelerating now away under the radar screen, and then I want to talk to you just quickly about the NAFTA corridors, super corridors. But one of the things that I've discovered in some of the research I'm doing is that there's the North American Forum on Integration, and every year they are holding big conferences that are kind of like models for a North American Parliament. So the one they had recently in Canada was called the Triumvirate, and they were, you can check on the NAFI website, and that's how they position themselves, as the kind of like a future North American Parliament. And one thing they were doing this past year was examining Chapter 11 and looking at how that could be revised. So
Chapter 11 is?
In NAFTA, the investment state mechanism, yeah. And so the other thing that is being proposed is a North American court, which would expand the tribunal system that we have now. There's somebody in the U.S., Dr. Robert Pastor, who was on the CF, the Council on Foreign Relations, and he's at one of the universities here. I forget which one. The American University, is there one? And he is a real proponent of all of this and seems to be pushing this, and he is on these committees. They're pushing for a North American customs union and a North American currency, and right-wing institutes like the Fraser Institute in Canada has papers from way back on this. That little symbol is what the Fraser Institute in Canada, somebody there has proposed that this would be the symbol for the Amero, which would be the currency for the North American Union. And then, as we already mentioned, there's all the harmonization of our regulations going on. They've got energy on the table again to make the whole energy sector much more integrated. You may not know, but Mexico managed to keep energy out of NAFTA. And so they're working very hard to make sure that they can get hold of Mexico's oil and gas. And in the meantime, you all probably know that the tar sands in Canada are being developed right now at great cost to water supplies in Alberta and to natural gas, which is being developed, some of which is used to get the dirty tar sand oil out, and it's of course why Canada has not met its obligations under Kyoto. We did not meet those emissions because of developing the tar sands, which are creating so much. And so this is a totally insane exercise there. But if you look at what's happening with the corridors, you can see that it's just going to keep on going, and we've got something moving now which is going to keep this flow of the fossil fuel economy and the global economy going. And so this is just an artist, a diagram of the area that the corridor, one of the main corridors will go from this port right here, Lazaro Cardenas, which is going to be developed along with a port here in the Baja, which will replace Los Angeles and Long Beach. And it means then that all the stevedore jobs in the U.S. and all the trucking jobs will be lost. You talked about trucking, and so now they're going to be able to use Mexican trucking companies. And in fact, I think it was you, excuse me, from QP? Yeah. Were you the one in the audience when we did the panel on Atlantica that told the story about how someone there had said that they'll have 32 kilometers of trucks backed up to unload the Halifax superport?
That was one of the super containers that one of the trucks would be NASA's just for half of it.
Yeah, and then you told the story, or someone did, that at the conference in Atlantica in St. John, that somebody said, and there'll be a great economy in all of this because we'll be able to use Mexican truck drivers.
Yeah.
So that's what they're planning. And so we don't have much research on, right now, on exactly where the corridors are going to go up through Atlantica, but it's on the table. There's research being done, and according to what the official from AIMS, which is a Market Studies Institute that's promoting this whole concept of Atlantica, they're anticipating those trucks coming up with the Mexican drivers, and so it'll be more, avoiding unions, avoiding fair wages, and the whole thing.
So,
because I have a strong hunch and I don't trust my governments, I can intuit that this is not a good thing.
Yeah.
I can sit in a classroom and provide the same language, and it can sound so, if the laws are going to be universal between Mexico, US, and Canada,
Yeah.
why would it be such a problem to provide more jobs for Mexican truck drivers, et cetera, so that we're not, other than we're going to create huge, race wars between, the working class in America and the Mexican workers.
Yeah.
What else is there? But just to help me break it down so that what can sound and look good, what's really.
Well, I think you go back to the trade agreements that Arnie was talking about, and you look at who benefits in these trade agreements. And it's big corporations, and there's where the money is amassing and being siphoned off, and sometimes siphoned off from taxpayers' funds. For example, with this superhighway, it will be Sintra in the Texas corridor now. It will be a Spanish company, so it's all internationalized. They will own the highway. It will be toll highway, but with some taxpayers' funds in it. And so we're losing control to international consortia that don't have they don't have any concern about the social condition, about laborers, about the environment. Right now, there's a lot of attempts to remove the kinds of environmental restrictions that we've had in the past. So let me just show you what this superhighway will look like. It's described, this is the Texas corridor, which is a major part, and there will be, well, let's just show the diagram here. An artist's rendition. They're talking about, 6 lanes for automobiles and 4 or 6 lanes for trucks, 4 lanes for trains, 1 lane for super trains, and the worrying thing for us here today is that on the outside, they're earmarking a corridor for utilities, and they also mentioned water pipelines. So when I read that, that's where the trigger goes up, And so none of this this is creating a super structure and governance structure which goes way beyond and obviates our own governments, and means we will not have the control, as Arnie was saying, the way these agreements are crafted. And right now, just go online and start to look through this. This system here is being promoted and put forward by a group called NASCO, and these are these consortia of business and some government people who are getting the resources together and promoting and building these corridors. And the point that is made in some cases is that they are international in scope, and so they see themselves linking up with CAFTA and the highways that are being planned there. And then if FTA can go through, the free trade area of the Americas, which has been stopped for now, they envision one large super corridor all the way to the tip of South America, right up to Canada.